we're afraid of letting go of what we have, and we're afraid we can't get what we want. And the idea is when you go into this, make a decision and start to take action, we have to, speaking of sort of changing our perceptions, we have to become okay with failure and to understand that that's part of the learning process, that it's okay to fail. It's all right to not know. It's all right to fall down, pick yourself up. That's the only time we learn. Remember, the only actual learning we ever get is against our will, which really, if you extrapolate that, that means that our mistakes are really the only thing that we learn from. Who learns anything from what they did right? You learn very little, because what you do right generally only confirms that whatever you got going on is working fantastic. So it's only in our mistakes that we actually have an opportunity to learn and change and become something different. And we spend so much time avoiding mistakes or minimizing them. And I get it. Risk management is an important aspect of life, depending on what you're dealing with. But to really embrace that idea that it's okay to make mistakes, and that when we take an action and we make a mistake, we should be able to feel okay about that, feel positive, to see it as an opportunity, to be able to see feedback from reality, like you said, like check in with reality, to see that feedback and feel that feedback as a positive thing, as a like, wow, okay, great, I just took in something new. So now I can steer this in a useful way. But rather than kind of feeling that way about it, we tend to try to avoid it or minimize. We avoid encountering it, and we minimize it when it does happen. And as a result, we cheat ourselves of exactly what we need to have. And we make it there's so much more suffering in the process that way, And as far as working on that, go ahead.
Yeah. I remember once years ago, I had this really great teacher, and one of the things she did was she asked the class, we were adult learners, and she asked the class for some feedback about how the class was going and how well we were able to learn what she was teaching. And some of the feedback was great, and some of it wasn't so great. And I remember at the end, she said, wow, thank you. You just gave me like $1 million worth of feedback. I really appreciate it. And at the time, I wasn't used to being okay with that kind of feedback. So I remember thinking like, wow, that's amazing that she looks at it that way. Mm-hmm. But that's a really useful belief where she, and I really get that now. I know for me, anytime I've had challenges or needed feedback or something didn't go well, often that's where I learn the most. Mm-hmm. And it's really having this sense of humor about yourself and knowing that that's true, because otherwise you become a lawyer for how it used to be. And it looks mm-hmm. really smart to be a lawyer. It does. Yeah.
Makes you feel good, makes you feel safe and in control. But that's an incredible learning to have, to see someone who can take feedback in a useful, constructive, and positive way. I mean, I've been lucky enough now to meet, a line of people that can take feedback that way. And it's always the same, especially when you don't take feedback necessarily. You're not really embracing it. It's not your first instinct. When you see someone who can do that, it's jarring. You're like, it's like, really? And you kind of watch it and see what's going to happen. But those are the people we should be paying close attention to. People who can take feedback usefully and in a positive way and doesn't alter their mood at all. They simply take it on, see what's useful in it, and let go of any of the other baggage they might have, and immediately take that information in and, I'm going to change this and this and this. I'm going to do this differently next time. And it never changes their mood. It never changes their mood. And you really want to pay close attention to those people because they have something.
Yeah. And listen, realistically, sometimes it does change people's moods and they can still have this attitude about it, right? So even if that happens, most of us have moments where we get upset with ourselves or we feel crappy about what happened. But it's really the quick shifting to, hey, what can I learn from this? Mm-hmm. And the perspective and having a sense of humor about ourselves.
Having a sense of humor.
And there's a reason why pride is one of the 7 deadly sins. It looks like a good thing, but pride is what keeps us from taking feedback or learning or being willing to change our illusions to something more useful. And I know I've learned that one the hard way.